Hello, I'm Jessica with the Community Library, and I'm just going to show you today how to make sprout houses. So you've probably picked up your kit from the library, obviously, you're going to make them. So I just want to go over what's in your kit first. So your first thing that you're going to find is a list of awesome books that kind of go hand in hand with gardening and growing things. If this is something that you really like, take a look at those books and check them out at the library. And it just, again, is a great resource if you enjoy this kind of thing. So the next thing you're going to notice attached to that list of resources are your directions. So I did actually print these out for you and put them in your kits too, just in case it's easier for you to read and follow along as we do this together. So I'm basically going to go down these directions. Okay. So what you're going to find in your kit is you're going to get a little baggie. Besides those two things, is you're going to get a little baggie with your toothpicks and all your seeds. Okay, so be careful so you don't spill those. What you're also going to find in your kit is 4 sponges. It doesn't matter the color or anything like that, so don't be like, oh, I got 2 pink. It's fine. It's not a problem. What you're going to need besides the thing that's in your kit, and these are just common things that are around your house, you're going to need a plate to put your sprout house on. You are going to need some scissors. I do have a glue gun. I didn't really need it, but I could kind of, you might want to use it. This is just, have your adults use your glue gun. If you do have one, don't do it yourself. I don't want you to get burned. You are also going to need some water. And just a little dish would work. And then perhaps a knife to spread your seeds once you begin your sprout house, or once you're done with your sprout house. I also have a permanent marker to help mark my sponges out. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So your first step is to choose a sponge for your base. Again, it doesn't matter what color, just whatever you're feeling. I chose to go with green just because I wanted it to look like grass. So that's going to be your base for your sprout house. I'm going to actually point the camera down a little so you can see my plate. Okay, so then you're just going to go ahead and set your base right on your plate. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick another sponge. This is going to be this is going to be 2 of the walls for your sponge, or for your sprout house, I'm sorry. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to take this sponge and you're going to cut it in half. So I did go ahead and mark it because you do want to make sure that you cut evenly and straight so that your wall is not a little wonky. It's absolutely fine if you don't cut it straight. It'll be fine. But just as an extra help, if that kind of thing drives you crazy, go ahead and mark it down so you know. Also make sure that you cut it up and down. So your sponge is horizontal and you cut it up and down. We don't want this way. Okay, so I guess that's, what is that, hamburger style or whatever. So what we're gonna do now, after we have it marked off, is we're gonna go ahead and cut our sponge so that we have our 2 walls. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is going to grab another sponge. I'm just going to choose this pink one. Again, I marked it down the middle just so you have a line of reference there. And I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and I'm going to cut that right down the middle as well. So you have your 4 walls basically. So here's 2, and then the other one will be, so you'll have your 2 walls one way and your 2 walls the other way. All right, and your very last sponge that you're going to do is you're going to cut this one down the middle too. Again, I marked it off just to help make sure it's even. And this is going to serve as your roof. So again, you have your base sponge that's just resting on your plate. And you have your 4 walls now, or 2 sponges that we cut up. And your last sponge you cut up, and that's going to serve as your roof. Okay, and feel free to pause if you need to kind of take a second and finish cutting. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you're going to take this little baggie that I gave you that has all the toothpicks and seeds in it, and you're going to go ahead and pull out the toothpicks. Okay, these are going to serve as your connectors for your sponges and actually going to help connect your sprout house. So I'm just going to pull all those out. Now, in this step, you are going to break some sponges, and that's, or some sponges. You are going to go ahead and break some toothpicks. That's just what's going to happen as you're trying to shove them in the sponges. It's totally fine. I did throw in extras, so you should be all good. So even if you break a couple toothpicks, it's no worries. You have some extras in your kit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to point this back down here so you have it. Got your base sponge. And I'm going to take 2 walls, okay? And I'm actually going to start, doesn't matter which way you start. I'm going to start this way, okay? So what you're going to notice here is I'm going to leave a little bit of space right here. And you can notice that in your pictures and the directions too, because that's actually going to be a really great spot where your sprout seeds just rest. So, it's just, they'll probably grow a lot better down there. So I just kind of leave, I don't know, I'd say maybe a ½ inch in so to serve as a good platform to put your seeds on, okay? So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna pick up your base sponge and you're going to poke it through. Okay. And I am actually going to, so you're going to poke it through right like that, and then you're going to shove another toothpick through like that. Okay. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your walls and just kind of poke your sponge through. Oh, see, mine broke, so, and it's no worries. Just gonna redo it. Okay. Okay, so there's one of our walls put in place. Again, I lost a toothpick, that's totally fine. The next thing, I'm gonna do you could do the same thing to get this wall on, or I'm gonna try to run it through my pink sponge first. I'll shove 2 in there so it's a little more sturdy. And then plop it right on my green. Poke it right through, okay? So what you're gonna notice are your 2 walls. And again, it might be a little wonky and that's okay. That's totally fine. But the toothpicks do hold very good actually. So if you feel like, oh, mine's a little wobbly, a little more wonky than I want, then you absolutely could go ahead and take your glue gun and just run it through the bottom of your pink sponge and attach it that way to your base. But again, if you just kind of play with your walls a little bit, you're going to be able to push them out, and once we attach the rest, you should be all good. But if you would like it to be a little more sturdy, go ahead and run that glue through. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this again to the other wall. And it seemed to work better when I poked my toothpicks through the pink first. Go ahead and plop it down. Okay. Now, in order to make this a little more sturdy and a little more connected, you're going to go ahead and take another toothpick and just send it through both the pink sides. And again, we might lose one, it's okay. Okay, and that just makes it a little more sturdy, a little more together. And again, if your sponges start to kind of feel like they're drying out as you're making your house, just go ahead and spray a little water on them, and it'll kind of be a little easier to, you know, manage. So, and it's okay if you got some toothpicks sticking out, we can always cut those off at the end. Okay, so now you're going to notice that I have my 3 walls up. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do our last wall. So for this last wall, I'm going to go ahead, how it works with mine is I must have cut just a touch off because you're gonna see I don't have any overlapping stuff right here, which is fine. I'm gonna just send a toothpick through this one, which is gonna secure these two together. So you may realize that how you cut yours, you're gonna have to figure out your toothpicks a different way, which is totally fine. That's the whole point of it. Just kind of doing your own thing a little bit and seeing how it works and how it looks. Please feel free to create your sprout house however you'd like. Like this is just one way. So if you have a cooler way or a better way that you think is going to hold more seeds and get more sprouts, go for it. Okay. All right. So we have our base of our sprout house and our base and our walls. So the last thing we're going to do is we need a roof. So we're going to go ahead and make our roof, okay? And again, it's absolutely okay if you kind of move in your one side so you have a little bit of this lip here, because that's going to be a perfect spot for your sprout seeds to go. Same thing up on top, perfect sprout or space for those sprout seeds to go, okay? So to connect these, I have found that's a little easier to poke in the toothpick in the middle of that wall and then squeeze, do it like that. Go ahead and squeeze your rooftop in the middle, the toothpick and the rooftop in the middle, okay? And just doing one, you're going to be able to bend your roof side, okay? All right, and it kind of looks funny right now, but trust me, it'll work out. So you're gonna do the same thing on this wall. So I'm gonna take my toothpick and I'm gonna shove it into the middle of my pink wall. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put my green rooftop. Okay, so it kind of looks like that right now. Now we need to connect these two. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect them like so. And I am just going to run a toothpick through the middle of the top and the middle of the other side. So you can kind of see how that forms your sprout house. Now, you see all these little toothpicks sticking out everywhere? That is absolutely not a problem. If that bothers you, you can just go ahead and cut these with your scissors. Oop, they go flying, so be careful. Okay, so you don't really see those anymore. All right, and just looking at my structure, it looks good. It feels good. What I am noticing down here is there's a little bit of a gap. So I'm gonna go ahead and shove another toothpick in there. Just to secure that a little bit more. Okay, so now you basically have your sprout house. What do we need now? We need our sprouts. So this is your little baggie of sprouts. How I've found is the easiest to do this is you are going to, they're a little hard to spread if it's so dry. So I have a little bowl here. I'm just gonna dump some sprout seeds in my bowl. And then I just got a little water. I'm gonna squeeze that water in here. So you'll see this. I'm gonna take my little spoon and mix it together. Okay, you might want to go ahead and just leave it sit for a second, just so those seeds kind of absorb some of that water. A, it's good for the seeds, and B, it kind of makes them a little gummier so they're easy to stick. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is you're gonna put your sprouts, seeds that kind of have gotten a little wet, a little gummier, they're easier to stick to your sprout house, on your sprout house. What I've realized is it's easier to put it in the crevices of your house. So what you're gonna notice here is the top, I'm gonna spread those seeds in the crevice of the house. And they're gonna fall off, that's totally fine. That's why you have a ton of seeds. I'm going to put it along my base because I gave it that little bit of an inch. Okay. I'm gonna run it along the other base. You can go ahead and put your seeds along your roof. They'll still stick with some water. Just try to lather it up as much as you'd like. And then what you're gonna end up doing with your sprouts, once you have your seeds all leathered up on the sides, on the roof, on the crevices, again, they're gonna fall off, some of them, it's totally fine. Once you've done that, you're gonna take more water and you're just going to put it on the outside of your sprout house and kind of soak that base sponge. That water is gonna soak up in there and it's gonna help your sprouts grow. You could drizzle some on the side as well if you ended up putting a lot of seeds on the side there. What I found is helpful for the roof is to just go ahead, now I didn't put that many seeds on the roof just for time purposes, but if you do have a lot of seeds on your roof, you're gonna wanna go ahead and just spray it with just a little misting bottle. And you could actually spray all of it if you'd like to. And then you're gonna wanna make sure you put your house next to a window to get some of that sunlight, because we know obviously that plants need sunlight and water to grow. So you should see your sprouts within a couple days. There should be some coming off of your house. Make sure that you keep your sprout houses moist, so make sure you're checking a few times a day because the sponges do dry out. So make sure you're spritzing them with water a few times a day. I hope you enjoyed making your sprout house and enjoy your sprouts.